China's economy was slowing down, but now it's getting back on track. How does it do that? And what does it mean for the US trade war? Welcome back to China Uncensored. I'm Chris Chappell. Good news, everyone. China's economy seems to be stabilizing. That's based on official economic data from the first quarter of this year.
More now on those growth numbers out of China overnight, which seem to signal stabilization in the world's second largest economy.
But wait, you say. Good news about China's economy from China Uncensored? Aren't you a CIA-backed anti-China propaganda outfit whose goal is to hurt the feelings of the Chinese people? Well, don't worry, because none of those things are true, including China's economic rebound.
And it comes after that country flooded its economy with stimulus money.
That is to say, the reason China's economy seems to have stabilized is that the central government has been pumping billions of dollars into it. Beijing flooded the financial system with money in a whatever-it-takes approach to arrest a slowdown. Because in China, they don't just deal with slowdowns, they arrest slowdowns and throw them in labor camps. Anyways, the Chinese Communist Party is deeply concerned about economic slowdowns. Its political model for the past 40 years has been, we'll let people make money so they don't complain about our authoritarian system. But as soon as people can no longer make as much money, they might start to question the Communist Party's rule. I mean, who would go for a Communist Party that doesn't help you make money? So what have Chinese central authorities been doing to pump up the economy? They've been pushing banks to make more loans. Last month, Premier Li Keqiang called on China's state-owned commercial banks to ramp up their loans, especially to MSEs, that is, micro and small enterprises. Chinese banks have already issued a record number of loans this year. New bank loans totaled $865 billion between January and March. That's 20% more than a year ago. On top of that, the central government has been encouraging local governments to issue bonds, which means they're borrowing more money. Local governments have raised $100 billion in new bonds in the first quarter. That's 700% more than a year ago, which is crazy because just last year, the same local governments were scolded for borrowing too much and hiding their debts. But for now, all this economic stimulus is working. The Chinese economy appears to be stabilizing. And this is important for Chinese leaders because they don't want to appear weak while the trade negotiations with the US continue. Originally, Trump wanted to have a new trade deal with China by March 1st. Otherwise, he promised to increase tariffs on Chinese goods. That would hurt China's economy a lot. But the whole trade deal thing is more complicated. The US has been pushing the Chinese Communist Party to make real structural reforms in how the Chinese economy operates. And those are no fun. So China has been procrastinating. It's like when your mom wants you to clean your room and not just shove everything into the closet like you usually do. The US wants China to declutter their economy, Marie Kondo style. Do those state-backed export subsidies really spark joy? Lucky for China, Trump knows how hard it is to let go. So he delayed the March 1st deadline for the tariffs, at least until he could meet with Chinese leader Xi Jinping in April. But then that April meeting never happened, and now it looks like it could be pushed back to June. Like I said, procrastinating. And by June it'll be summer. And do you really want to spend your summer doing trade negotiations? Wouldn't you rather be at the beach? Never mind, the beach is terrible. Wait, that must be Trump's strategy. He wants to make sitting in an office and doing paperwork all day seem appealing. But in order to get there, Chinese leaders have to offer the kind of free market reforms the US wants. So the US may not be happy about the fact that Chinese state-owned enterprises are the ones picking up a lot of the slack in this recent economic activity. Plus, there's the whole issue of needing an enforcement mechanism to stop anyone from cheating on the trade deal, which won't be easy. And what if the Chinese Communist Party decides that the trade deal doesn't spark joy? So, will U.S. trade negotiators look at China's recent stimulus as a sign that China's economy is strong again? Or will the U.S. see this stimulus as a weakness and use it as leverage to force the Chinese regime to make more concessions? That's unclear. But regardless, the Chinese government simply cannot afford to think about the medium term and must focus on short-term continuation of the credit bubble. Yes, short-term thinking is the way to go. So for now, China's economy is stabilizing. But eventually, the long term will come. And in the meantime, all the debt they're creating is a ticking debt bomb. And time bombs tend to explode at some point. Unless you're MacGyver. But hey, that's a future problem, right? So what do you think? Leave your comments below. And now it's time for me to answer a question from one of you, a viewer who supports China Uncensored through the crowdfunding website Patreon. Rodney Hall writes, I appreciate that you guys would like to maintain a semblance of privacy in your personal lives, hence the fact that you don't talk much about yourselves, except for Chris and his student debt. But Matt is so low-key that I've become curious about him. I think the most significant personal facts he's revealed are that he is a blonde and has a living room. Care to elaborate? No, that's pretty much all there is to Matt. He's blonde and he has a living room.
Really, Chris? That's it? I'm a complex human being.
Okay, fine. Tell me one interesting thing about yourself.
I like alpacas.
Thanks for your question, Rodney. And thank you to all my amazing supporters, my 50-cent army, for contributing $1 or more through our Patreon website. Your support is what keeps us going. Even Matt. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time.